Our final session is the CEO panel. Of course, I think there's a little of a traffic, so one of our CEOs is stuck out there. But I think he should be in as we start the panel right away. So I would like to, the topic of this panel is how deep tech is enabling Make in India. Now, while the topic might sound a little esoteric, believe me, when you start talking, when we see the CEOs on this panel, you will understand why this topic has been chosen. So for this panel, I'd like to call on stage Bipin Preet Singh, co-founder and CEO of MobiKwik. Please give him a big hand. Please. Here, you can sit here. Then I'd like to call Ashutosh Gupta, Country Manager, LinkedIn India. Please. Rohan Verma, CEO and Executive Director, MapMy India. And Satish Shukla, co-founder of Addverb. Please give him a big hand. Shashank Kumar will come in a little late. Satish, I think. Yeah. You can sit there. Yes, Satish. Yeah, please. So Shashank will be joining us soon. So I guess without much ado, I'll probably start with by inviting each one of you to talk a little about your company from the point of view of Make in India kind of process. So I know that, okay, one is a robotics company, hardcore, so Addverb is a robotics company, Bipin is a fintech, MapMy India, of course, where we talk about, like you talk about Google Maps, here is the competitor, here you have a proper MapMy India, Make in India kind of maps in India. And of course, when we have Ashutosh out here, when we talk about Make in India, you require a lot of people, the skills out here, the employable force out here. So obviously we'll be asking Ashutosh whether we have those kind of skills. But let me start with you, Satish. You can tell us a little about what Addverb actually does, and how is it facilitating, how are you using the deep tech part of it?
Sure. So before I introduce Addverb, I'd just like to weigh on what we heard 1 hour back from Jack, I think, where he mentioned about UV light robot and a robot going to the hospital and sanitizing the area. And Leslie, if you remember when you visited our facility, we showed him the autonomous mobile robot that we had built and given to Uttar Pradesh government for COVID, where there was a UV light on that robot in 2020, and it would sanitize the hospital rooms so that the frontline workers are not exposed to the COVID virus. And they used it for 6 months and then gave us back. So it was really a feel-good factor for us that we had done something what he was saying would happen in the future. So coming to Addverb, we are basically a robotics company born in India in 2016 that now provides robotics and warehouse automation solutions to companies across the world with its Made in India robot. To put it in a nutshell, we are an embodied AI company which builds autonomous mobile robots and other automation systems which help companies to pick, pack, sort, store, dispatch items in a very productive way. We increase their productivity by almost 20 to 30 times as compared to a manual process. And so when I say embodied AI, our robots are basically agents which are equipped with sensors, cameras, lidars, proximity sensors. And it is like a self-driving car which operates in a limited environment in a factory and a warehouse. And it creates an abstract representation of the objects, both spatial and temporal, and then learns in an interactive way to perform complex tasks like navigation, path planning, and takes the decision of moving material from one place to another. And we are not talking about a prototype or a single solution. These are prime robotics which are built for enterprise. We have deployed more than 1,000 robots across the world for leading companies like Unilever, Reliance, Amazon, Flipkart, DHL, Maersk. We have more than 300 customers and 500 sites for these robots. Now, how does our company help in realizing the vision of Make in India? So as an individual, I'm a big believer of serendipity, and that's how our journey has been while creating this company. So when we embarked on this journey of Make in India, COVID also happened. And for reasons which are political, and I would not like to touch on that, there was a China plus one story that came out, which also is called friendshoring, where the Western powers that be decided that we probably want to have a supply chain and manufacturing partner who would be more friendly or who would probably have a more democratic framework. And mind you, see, India is the only country that can give the scale of China to this world. Now, we have to understand why these companies would move out of China. Because they want scale, because they want quality. They are not moving for cost. And that is where there is a sweet spot of smart manufacturing. When I say smart manufacturing, I mean manufacturing that is powered by electronics, that is powered by software, and that controls the entire manufacturing process. That's a sweet spot for India, where India can give a smart manufacturing stack, just like India has given a software stack to deliver public service and governance, right? We did it with opening of bank accounts, we did it with, and we have here from a gentleman from MobiKwik who will probably speak about it. We have given India, India has shown the world how vaccination certificates were given, how we vaccinated a billion people, more than a billion people. Similarly, we have a sweet spot of smart manufacturing, which will enable companies to manufacture at scale, manufacture products of good quality, and also at affordable cost. And that's what we help companies do of every scale and size. And just before I close it out, we just helped Lenskart build one of the world's largest eyewear factory, which is completely automated. So anybody sitting in this room, if they would have ordered a lens from Lenskart, it has been fulfilled by a robot from Addverb.
Excellent. So these are kind of lights out factories that we're already talking about in India. I mean, it's amazing. Bipin, your story is also something similar in the fintech kind of space. You could just tell us a bit about, you know, how, and also probably also bring out the point, because this is the Mint AI Summit. So I'd like you to also, you know, highlight the fact how these emerging technologies, I mean, when we talk about deep tech, we're talking about emerging technologies, but basically how they're powering the fintech sector out here.
Sure. So, hi, I am Bipin. I am the founder of and CEO of MobiKwik. So, we are a fintech. We are a decade-old company, and currently we are focused on building a digital banking platform for masses of Indians who we believe are currently not having access to financial services at the scale that it should be. So, using our technology, using the app that we provide, MobiKwik app, we serve over 120, 130 million users who use our digital payments in the form of UPI, wallet, and other kind of payment modes. In addition, because most of these customers who live across the length and breadth of the country don't have easy access to credit, we also build digital lending products like pay later and personal loans and loans for merchants. We use a lot of data and underwriting and data science in order to find out which users are eligible for these kind of products. And that's one of the big investments that we do in deep technology and understanding. And of course, you know, that's more machine learning, but now going more and more towards artificial intelligence. I'll talk a little bit more about that later. In addition, we are also building deep wealth tech products where we understand that a lot of users in India don't understand how to create returns on the money that they have. And money which is sitting in your bank account, you are actually losing the value because of inflation. But where should you put it? Do you have the confidence to put it in stock market? Do you have the confidence to buy mutual funds? If you're choosing mutual funds, where to buy? Which one to buy? Which one will give the best return? Can you handle volatility? Or are you looking to invest in instruments which give fixed returns, but come with kind of somewhat higher risk compared to a fixed deposit? So like this, we have We are focused on creating new asset classes, new products, which will allow masses to invest their money and generate returns at lower risk without having to talk to other banks or relationship managers. Of course, across the length and breadth of country, that's really not scalable. And that's where really technology comes in. Our big asset, because of the scale that we have, is data. So we have data across hundreds of millions of customers about their profiles, about their KYC, about their spending habits, about their smartphones, about their locations, about their movements, a lot of different kind of data points that we have access to, which is in billions of number. And we are just at the beginning of how to use that data to provide better services to the same customers, better financial products, which are more suitable. This has many, many challenges, of course.
We'll come to the challenges in a bit, because that's the next step. So
Sure.
Let's stick to the positives for now.
Sure.
Okay,
So what I was talking about more is in terms of the opportunities which are out there, what I believe what AI can do in this, the topic of this conference being AI, which is basically really bridging the gap between an average user living in any town, remote town or village of India, versus the data that we have and the products that exist in India's financial ecosystem. And that gap can be bridged, in my view, through AI.
In fact, actually, when Jack Hidley was speaking, he was talking about certain financial products, how they should be done in India. I wanted to tell him, no, as far as the digital landscape is concerned, India is way ahead even of Western markets. I mean, that's by far, and I guess you have just convinced the audience that is the case. Let's talk, Rohan, you can tell us a little about how you are trying to dominate the maps space, which is, easier said than done, because we know who the competitors, so it must have been a real big task for you to use this deep tech and score a point out here.
Thanks, Leslie, for having me. Thanks to Mint for inviting me. Actually, we pioneered digital mapping in India, as you know. 1995 is when my parents started to build a digital map data product for India. At that time, IT services obviously was starting to boom in India, but there were very few IT product companies. And I think they're of that generation in 95 to build a digital map data product. And of course, Google wasn't even born then. 2004 or 2005, Google launched Google Maps. So I think we can say proudly that we're not just Make in India, but also pioneering product and platform company in this space of mapping and related deep tech. Beyond the consumer use case of maps, I think there's so many fintech and BFSI companies that use our maps and technology solutions, so many automotive companies, the government organizations. So maps and location technology is it is really deep tech to kind of create a digital representation or geospatial representation of the real world. And there's so many use cases around that. And what we are able to enable customers or companies in India is with a fully made in India, indigenous, no data going outside to a foreign country. And we've heard those examples that when the Kargil war had happened, then GPS was denied to the Indian armed forces. Or in Russia-Ukraine war, Google Maps was switched off for the Russian forces. So I think from that angle, Make in India with an Atmanirbhar company like MapIndia makes sense. But it's not just Atmanirbhar or Make in India. It's really how we use AI to build our maps. And so in a sense, MapIndia, how we build maps is driving millions of kilometers, using cameras, collecting the real world vision data, and applying our trained AI models on that data to extract what's changing in the roads. Things like where the speed breakers are, potholes are, etc. So in a sense, not that today we are ready with this, but we are building a large vision model. The way you're seeing LLMs, we're trying to build this LVM based on India's generated data. Probably we have one of the largest, if not the largest, repository of real world data for India in 3D and 360 degrees.
So when you're saying LVM, you mean
Large vision models.
Vision models, yes.
That's
I
right.
think it's better to spell out the acronym.
That's right. That's right. And the second is we are enabling customers to use the power of AI through our products and platforms. So typically professional or enterprises use our geospatial analytics, our InTouch or IoT platform, as well as they can put in any kind of vision information or images or videos and or satellite imagery or drone imagery. And we can help them extract information as to urban sprawl, change detection, or let's say where a tree has been cut. And finally, on the LLM side, what we're trying to do is build a chat GPT for travel. We have this app called Mapple's Kogo, which is an AI-first travel concierge, which is essentially helping you to plan travel in a very natural language interface. So this weekend, what should I do with my kids and my wife? I'm looking for a luxury but adventurous holiday. So where are the places I can go? These are questions you can ask of Mapple's Kogo, and it'll tell you where all to go based on MapIndia's data, and also help book. So in a nutshell, this is how we are providing deep tech products and platforms and leveraging AI. And it's an exciting time to be making in India, for India right now, and eventually for the world.
Undoubtedly. And Ashutosh, you have been patiently listening to Addverb, MobiQuick, Maps My India, and of course, I'm sure you must have encountered, whole scores of companies out there that are, creating Make in India products and using, deep tech technologies. Now, in your opinion, how do you see the scenario helping, the entire employment space from the positive sides first, let us speak. What are the kind of skill sets that are required? What is it that the generation of India should actually look out? Do they require some kind of reskilling to get into this game? So if you can give us a perspective on that, that would be great.
Yeah, first of all, thank you, Leslie and Mint, for having me here today. From a skilling perspective, I think a lot of changes are going to come in the future. I think our latest research shows that for any role, the skills required will change by 60% plus by 2030. So even for my role, 60% of the skills required will be different by 2030. And I think there are two parts to the skills landscape. One is the hard skills, and obviously digital marketing, digital skills, learning coding. Those are very, very important. But the true value or the true premium will come from soft skills, right? So for any role or any job you do, there are three kind of activities. Let's bucket the activities into three parts. One part which AI can do, second part which AI can assist, and the third part which AI cannot, right? And that third part is so important. And what is that third part? Those are the problem identification, problem solving, creativity. These are the skills which humans do better. And that's where the premium on human skills will be at a very high level, right? So I think, a lot of people are focusing on hard skills, which is the right thing. You have to embrace AI. You have to learn what ChatGPT is. You have to learn what generative AI is. But as you learn that, the part which you have to 100% focus on is on the soft skills, because these skills are going to be very, very important, right? So that's what's happening on the skilling side. And one thing is, at LinkedIn, we truly believe the skills first mindset, which is, I think this is what's being embraced across India, and I'm very proud of that. When in the jobs landscape, right, the companies are adapting, the hirers are adapting, that, we want to hire people with the right skills. It's not about pedigree. We have hired many times about the pedigree, right? I come from IIT, I come from IIM, or I come from X company, hence I can do the job. That's not true. You can do the job when you have the right skills. And that's where a lot of hiring people, a lot of companies are changing their hiring thinking to adopt the skills first mindset, right? Even the people now, the candidates are also adapting it. They are learning the skills. On LinkedIn, we have LinkedIn Learning, which is a true barometer of how a country is performing or country is learning. We have seen that, our Indian members are learning tons of new skills on LinkedIn Learning, and they're spending more time. In fact, they're spending 1.8x more hours on LinkedIn Learning than compared to any other country in the world, right? So that shows that members are also trying to learn the new skills. So I think the world is going to change a lot, but I think the most important thing is not to fight the change, to embrace the change, right? And I feel like this is very similar as we enter 2024. I feel it's very similar to what happened with internet when internet came in 90s, right? Very similar kind of discussions happened. Lot changed in the world because of internet, right? From education to the bunch of jobs changed because of internet, and very similar thing is going to happen with AI, right? Lots going to get changed, but I think it's very important to embrace, learn it, and see how you can make it your own and learn and get benefit from the efficiency.
Thank you. You know, actually, I was actually going to ask, you know, since all these companies actually employ such people, what are the kind of skills that they have? But welcome, Shashank. I think you got stuck in the traffic and he's here. AI wasn't of much help out there. But we hope that in the future these traffic systems can be controlled meaningfully. But I had given everybody a fair chance to talk about their companies and how they're using deep tech. I know yours is a hardcore agri-tech company, and you know, you're doing tremendous amount of work in that space. You can just give us a brief overview of, you know, how deep tech is enabling and, you know, made your company the Make in India part of it.
Sure, and first of all, I think sorry for being late, but you're right, traffic, AI can't do anything here. But, so hi everyone, good evening, and candidly I keep saying that Dehat was started when agri-tech was agriculture. So we started our journey back in 2012, but first initial 7 years as such there was no significant usage of tech or so-called AI in our journey. But yes, in those 7 years actually we built the foundation, advisory content for farmers, understanding the grassroots realities, and then after that we started investing in tech very, very heavily. And why? Because we knew that if we have to reach out to every individual farmer of India, it's not possible without tech. Those again who don't know much, Dehat is all about providing complete end-to-end agriculture value chain services to farmers for whichever crop they grow. Our vision is to bring everything related to agriculture under one roof for these Indian farmers, and as most of us know that in India there are more than 100 million farmers. So that's why this was very clear to us that, you know, that again, how important is overall tech going to be in our journey. But talking about, now going back to your question, so I think a few of the use cases, if I just bring here in front of the house, how we use technology in our day-to-day basis. So, so one, maybe I would pick it up is as farm monitoring. In a very layman language, if I explain, so we fetch data from 2 satellites every week, and this is something what we have been doing since last 10 years, and for 6 million unique land parcel, 2 million square kilometer area of land of India, and that's how basically, you know, our engine is trained and built. As a result, basically again, what is happening at farm level, that is something which is known to us remotely. So we don't need to go there physically. That, you know, that what is happening at the farm level, what was the sowing date of the crop, what is the current moisture at the farm, which part of farm is affected by pest or disease attack. And that's how basically I think we monitor these farms, again on behalf of farmers. Why? Because then again crop advisory or advising farmers, you know, for better pest management, better disease management, irrigation management, I think that's one of the large tasks for Dehat. So, and that's how I think we could reach out to more and more farmers. If I just share a few more data, to imagine by end of March 19, we had only somewhere around 11,000 farmers with us, again, who believed in us during our early days. But I think only because of this tech piece, or because, again, deep tech rather, so that I think we could build our advisory engine for various states, various districts, various villages, so that I think we could provide advisory services to farmers for number of crops in a personalized manner, in a regionalized manner, in a customized manner. And that's the reason, that's one of the reasons we could grow from, imagine 10,000 farmers in March 19 to 2.2 million farmers as on date as we speak. So one piece is this entire satellite imagery piece. The two is a lot of supply chain bit, right? Because Dehat is not just about giving information to farmers, because we don't charge farmers for advisory, while again it adds a lot of value in their day-to-day life. But In addition to advisory, I think there are a lot of supply chain related stuff, which is like farmers, they also use the Haat to buy seed, fertilizer, and agrochemicals of different brands. They also use the Haat platform to sell their crop, whether it's staples or pulses or fruits or vegetables. So the second tech piece is related to again supply chain, and again use case if I mention. So imagine that. So for example, before crop gets harvested physically, again we are in a position because of AI, because of tech we have built that we are in a position to forecast the yield of those crops, again on behalf of farmers. And why it's important? Because again we just want to have confirmed institutional demand with us before farmers start harvesting their crop physically, right? So that at the end of season they should not land in a position that that the crop gets harvested and now I'm going to hunt the buyer, and again probably I think they have to go for distress sale or so. So again this is one of the reason why as on date, again as we speak, every day we aggregate almost 6,000 tonnage of produce. So again, of course it depends upon the prevailing crops, harvesting cycle, but every day we are aggregating 6,000 ton of produce, whether it's rice or grapes or green vegetables or pulses or oil seeds, whatever. And then it goes to folks like all these retail chains, modern trade players, FMCG players, also to the overseas market of the global retail chains in a complete traceable manner after getting processed and packaged as per their specification. To all these 2 million farmers, every day we are providing or we are delivering more than 35,000 agri-input orders related to seed and fertilizer and agrochemicals. So this is all a lot of such things related to supply chain. And again, so imagine these farmers when they order anything, it gets delivered in less than 24 hours today. So I'm not talking about Gurgaon or Delhi, where it took me 2 hours to come from Gurgaon to here. But while today we have our supply chain presence in 118,286 villages of India, which is roughly 19%. But still a farmer, when they order anything related to farm input, it gets delivered in less than 24 hours. So the second piece is the supply chain. Last not the least, I would say, is the data piece. We believe that, again, as I said, that the goal is to bring everything related to agri under one roof. And hence, basically, our intervention is incomplete without financial services. So a lot of data related to farmer, their farm, and again a lot of analytics and science on that data set. So again in form of the data warehouse, and that is helping us to build a farm score or farmers score, which is going to be used further for any banking institution, any reinsurers or insurance companies, so that they can use our platform to reach out to millions of farmers, either for lending or for insurance. So I take a pause and sorry for the monologue.
No, I allowed you to speak because you came in late, and at the same time I think, the farmer story is something that resonates well with the audience also. And I think, seldom do we associate farmers with satellites and, GPS and all the high-tech kind of stuff that we are talking about. But listening to all the CEOs, you really get an idea of if anybody is there in the audience that really actually wants to build a company, deep tech company. I think you have enough stories out here how to build a deep tech company and a make in India kind of company. But having said that, of course, not everything is hunky-dory. There are surely a lot of challenges out there, because here you have given the positive side of everything, and people might think, okay, it's so easy to build this kind of company. I'm sure there are plenty of challenges. Let's start with you, Rohan. If you can just list very briefly, because we are running out of time, just a couple of challenges that you're facing.
MapMindia's simple challenge is Google's monopoly. It's very simple. I mean, if you use the Mappers app, I request you all to try it. I think you'll find it better than Google Maps. But the fact is, most of you don't know about it. And you're comfortable because Google is preloaded forcibly on all phones for the last 10 years. This has been one, okay, we became a unicorn, we went public, we're profitable, growing, all the good things. I think we could have been a decacorn had Google had not monopolized this market. So now, at least we can ask consumers, you all, to try the Mappers app. Then we can ask the government to intervene, and then we can ask, whoever else is there to ask to start. So for us, the challenge is simple, It's obviously a daunting challenge, but I think we're up for it. I think we've dealt with it quite well in the face of an impossible task, and I think it's only going to get easier after this.
Thank you, Dhawan. Bipin, I'm sure you were very happy when Shashank said that financial services, I think he sort of endorsed what you are actually doing.
Sure. So see, in India, financial services are a backbone for almost every industry, and you can't build businesses without financial services. Basic things like payments, digital payments being in place, or loans being made available when they are needed, insurance in order to cover the risk, and also for customers who want to make return, having different kind of products.
The challenges, if you can highlight some of the
Yes,
challenges.
so I'm coming to that. So I think in terms of what we see as challenges, the big challenges for MobiKwik, and they are applicable to fintech industry, is because our industry has become so big, it has scaled so much. The biggest challenges are around cybersecurity and data privacy, usage of data, and especially now with AI being there, and the Data Protection Act also, which has become a law in India. I think that has become not a challenge, I think that has become something that you have to work with, because ultimately data is the main asset on which we build all the intelligence. And second thing is, of course, when you're dealing with money in financial products, you have to ensure security and safety at all times, because financial institutions like ours, for us, trust and reputation is the biggest asset we build.
Also finding the right talent?
Yes, I think talent, of course. I mean, in India, we are talking about AI, for example. I mean, I think I was looking at LinkedIn. There's hardly any talent available. So
I will have Ashutosh answer that later.
Yeah, but talent definitely in India. We have a lot of people who are qualified in terms of their degrees. But in terms of skills, there is a big gap between what the industry or the leading cutting edge innovation needs versus what is available.
Fair enough. Satish, very quickly.
Sure. So I'll touch on 2 points, but just since you mentioned talent, I would like to say we face this problem, and what we have realized is you need to build talent, not buy talent. And that's something that we have learned in last 7 years. And this company that has been created, and since we have a gentleman from LinkedIn that is sitting here, so all of us came from Asian Paints, which is a process industry. None of us were software engineers, and we built this company. 2 platforms had a very big role to play in it. One was YouTube, second was LinkedIn. And tremendous amount of role. We went, we saw, we learned, we implemented. Now, when we implemented, coming to the challenge, what we realized was there is no robotic ecosystem. So there was a gentleman today in the session from a very big conglomerate who's entering into paints.
Yes.
They have a playbook. You have a playbook, you have Asian Paints, they've shown the world. You build automated factories, paint is a simple thing to do. So they've invested 10,000 crores in capex, they are building up some of the most automated factory. We had no precedent. We were selling robot, made in India robot, to players in Europe, US, Japan, Australia, right? What we realized was, since there is no robotic ecosystem, there is no vendor system, boss, these are like self-driving cars, and no automotive vendor will work with you if you go and tell them that I'm going to build 1,000 robots in next 5 years, right? They build lakhs and lakhs of cars. So we had to build a robotic ecosystem, for which we realized that we will have to build our own manufacturing capabilities. And today we have the largest mobile robot manufacturing capability in the world in India, in Greater Noida. So, and it is a completely made in India factory. And and that was one of the challenges that we solved. So we decided that if we want to bring reliability, you have to control the supply chain. And 2 things that really we figured out. So one problem that we felt, one of the big challenge in this business was, if you design a warehouse automation solution or a factory automation solution, it takes 3 to 4 months to design. Then you deliver the solution. And we all know what happened with Unilever when we were doing the solution. They designed the solution pre-COVID, the Chennai solution, the Samadhan solution, which they were doing to speed up the grocery delivery. And then COVID happened, lo behold, entire order profile changes. Now you need flexibility in designing and implementing these automation solutions. These are the two solutions that we solve with digital twin and simulation, which is again a part of AI, which I will touch at a later point of time because those are big enough topics here.
Thank you. Shashank, very quickly.
I think two things. One, obviously, in the context of rural area or farmer level, so still the adoption of digital interfaces, that's still a long journey. Things are definitely getting better, we all know, but in relative terms, we definitely consider this as a challenge. When we see ourselves very much capable, to reach out, to every individual farmer, but still the tech adoption. And especially considering the diversity of India. While the western part of India, it is little advanced, but the eastern part of India is still kind of picking up. So one is in general the tech adoption at a farmer level. Two is since Satish mentioned about playbook. So again, in case of agri or agri-tech, there is no as such footprints to follow. A lot of data is still sort of with the government, right? Considering, in fact, they also play equally important role in the sector. Considering KCC, Kisan Credit Card, fertilizer allocation data, right? So a lot of data is basically is proprietary with the government. But obviously the private player, they don't have access to this data, and hence, let's say anyone like us or any private player, if they have to start their intervention in agri in any new geography, if they have to know about anything about the geography, again, they have to do everything by their own. So there is no playbook, as long story short. But again, the silver line is that now government is talking about agri stack, right? Your digital, public infrastructure, and more importantly, I think a UPI equivalent, structure in case of ag data stack as well. So that's definitely a silver line.
And also, is the fact that, in India we have small land holdings, is that a major issue out here because in the adoption part of it, agri-tech? Is that an issue?
Our model is actually meant for small farmers.
Okay.
So we consider this more as an opportunity.
Okay,
That probably, I think, for no corporate, whether a large retail chain or FMCG player or seed company, basically can reach out to in millions of farmer for their specific agriculture requirement or business. So we consider this as an opportunity, but yeah, that's a hard fact that 90%, almost 90% Indian farmers are small and marginal with land holding of 1 hectare, and even this 1 hectare is fragmented in form of 3-4 different land parcels. So supply chain challenges, yes, for sure, but as an innovator, we consider this as an opportunity.
Absolutely. Ashutosh, everybody wants to hear, as far as AI skills are concerned, I mean, we are seeing it. I mean, most of the CEOs out here who employ people also have voiced their opinion as to that there is a lack of, real true talent as far as AI is concerned. What are your thoughts now, given the kind of now, suddenly first we should talk about AI, now we're talking about generative AI, and there's a lot of confusion among the things. So what are the kind of trends that you're seeing from a challenge point of view?
I mean, I think you heard the challenges on the talent side. It's just the skill availability is going to be a major challenge. Though India has a great advantage of demographic dividend, but remember some of the generative AI technologies are less than 12 months right now. So people are learning the skills, acquiring the skills, but that's going to be a challenge. I think one of the gentlemen on the stage kind of gave the answer. For the companies, it's you can acquire the skills or you can build the skills, right? Like our CEO Ryan says, your next employee might be your current employee sitting somewhere. It's just providing that opportunity to develop and reskill and acquire those skills, right? So the demand will be very, very high across different industries and verticals in India, right? So I think both needs to be done. We need to retrain the people which are coming out of schools, colleges, as well as retrain some of our employees which are sitting there, right? So the development, the learning and development function is going to play a very important role. Looking at how we can enable those employees to learn those skills very quickly is going to be very important.
But we have prestigious IITs, we have triple IITs,
no, of course. So,
we have the best of schools and colleges. What exactly is lacking? Yeah, I think.
I'll just add, if I'm sorry if I'm
please do.
I'll give you. So since you mentioned triple IITs, IITs, so I was hearing a gentleman from Karya talking about collecting data, and I was sharing with my colleague in 2019, we were doing pick by voice. So pick by voice is our AI-based assistant, with an Android device, it will be there, and it will give you voice commands where you have to go, what you have to do, and you give a voice command back, it will do a text-to-speech conversion back, and then you perform the task, right? Now, again, so since Google gave a text-to-speech, obviously you would have to license, and there was a cost element involved. Nobody would pay a bomb for this kind of a solution. We hired a couple of engineers, one from the newer IITs, the baby IITs, one from DTU. These two freshers, within 6 months, did all the job of data collection, collected all the samples for us, developed our own native text-to-speech engine, which could speak in 6 languages within 6 months, right? So that's when I said you have, so again, reskilling, you have to build data. We have to catch this talent young. The average age of our organization is 25. Every year we go to these colleges and we hire graduates, and trust me, they have surprised us every year with what they could do next.
We would love to, hear.
Yes,
Yes,
just like,
final,
and he said that,
final
like,
words.
and I said that earlier, pedigree doesn't translate into ability to do job well, right? And that's where the skills first thinking of having the right skills, ability to demonstrate the skills, and then do the job, right? It's very different from pedigree, right? So that we have to transform as a society to think about skills first and ability to get the job done.
Yeah, absolutely. I can take a couple of questions. Yes, please. Can you give a mic? If you're asking it to a specific person, please
So
do
my
specify.
question is to the panel. I am unique. I work as a CIO for CK Birla Group, a large conglomerate. So today we are talking about generative AI, which is a future, and there are 5.5 billion internet users across the world. Everything is about data, right? And with the data protection bill, and the hackers are always one step ahead. So what strategies you are adopting in the organization to protect the data?
Who wants to take this? Okay.
I mean, the answer is simple. You just follow the law. So, I mean, there is no option, right? It's not like there is an if then else. But I believe the data protection law provides a proper framework where you can collect data, use data, have proper consent in place, destroy data when it's required, and ensure that basically, you don't use that data for any use case which it was not meant to be collected. So I think that is the one fundamental principle, explicit consent, and use it for the specific use case for which you have taken the consent from the user. Right now, as you know, it's a free for all, right? You get the data, any data everybody is using. For all companies like based in US like OpenAI, etc., they've probably mined all of India's data already and built models on top of it. But that should really not be the case. I think data is proprietary. Data is the property of the country and also of the individual citizens and the government. So I think this particular law defines that, and I think that the solutions are straightforward.
I can take one last question.
Thank you.
I see a lot of hands, so one last question. Let the lady, please.
Hi, I am Suchi Agrawal. I am from Indo-Vision Services. My question goes to Mr. Shashank. Mr. Shashank, you are doing a fantastic work when you're addressing this agriculture. There are a lot of burning issues, and I belong to Delhi. So my question is related to one of the issue, which is the stubble burning. Every year we face this issue, and since you are generating a good ecosystem in all of the issue you are trying, do you have any plans to address this issue, in future by doing something? It's just out of curiosity I want to ask.
Sorry, Shashank, I didn't expect that one.
I'll answer the second part of question first because that's simple. So the trigger geography is mostly Punjab and Haryana. These are the two states where the land holding is very, very high. Again, as I said, that our focus is mostly on those geographies where land holding is small. So simple answer, plan is not to go to states like Punjab or Haryana largely, but the solution is available. And it's two. One is the mechanization, right? Mechanization, I think, instead of burning. And two is basically converting those agricultural waste into the fertilizer. If I just educate you and the house, is like, in very bits and pieces at a very small scale, the attempts, have been already taken now by a few voluntary organizations, local government, private players as well. But obviously the sample size of the problem statement is huge, and we all are the sufferer.
Thank you so much. Can I also ask one more question?
No, please. We are run out of time.
Just last.
Okay.
This is very crisp question to Mr. Rohan. Are we going to see your map in some Uber app or Ola? You have any collaboration strategy with these giants? Maybe that will help a lot.
I mean, our map does go in almost every car that comes with a built-in system comes with us. Amazon, Flipkart users, Paytm, PhonePe come built in. Yeah, I wish Uber and Zomato and Swiggy also become customers, but hopefully them too soon.
Rohan's is a listed company, so he's going to give you diplomatic answers. Okay. So, thank you very much, friends. Please give them a big hand. And thank you for being a very patient and engaging audience. So please join us for cocktails and dinner. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Shashank. No, absolutely. Please.
Audience, I would like to request you all before we convene that please fill the feedback forms for us so that we can enrich your event experience further. I would also like to thank Leslie for such an amazing show today and a wonderful audience for participating actively in this summit. I would also like to thank our partners, Honda, Oracle, and Fractal AI for being huge support for us. Please join us for cocktail and dinner.
Sir, thank you very much.